everyone, welcome back to the Vibes Show. It's your host Favour Daramola, and today we're going to be talking about something very important that not a lot of people love to talk about: bullying and cyberbullying. Have you ever had an interaction or a discussion with someone or a group of people, and at the end you felt drained, you felt less valuable, you felt less important? That's a pointer to bullying. It might not be physical. A lot of times it is even emotional, it is psychological, because they try to play with your mind. And the goal of bullies is to make you feel less, to make you feel smaller, and to make you doubt yourself. And that way, the bullies feel stronger, they feel better, they feel on top, they feel in charge. And so today we're going to be talking about important strategies on how to deal with bullies. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is the Vibes Show. All right, welcome back. So now we're going to be discussing strategies on how to deal with bullying and bullies. So number one, don't keep quiet. Don't be silent about it. So do not think that if you ignore them or you just let it slide, they are going to stop, or over time it's going to get better. No, it's not going to get better over time if you keep quiet. So you have to deal with it. Don't be a pushover. Confront them. Stand up to them. Bullies do not like when you stand up to them. In fact, one major thing that make bullies find their targets is timidity. When they see that, oh, this person is so quiet, he or she does not look like he can stand up for himself or she can stand up for herself, those are their perfect targets, because they like to impose themselves on others. They like to make other people feel less of themselves, and people that are already looking like they're not sure of who they are, those are their perfect targets. So, which is why the solution or a great strategy to dealing with bullying, or for dealing with bullying, is not to keep quiet about it, and even more importantly, standing up to them. They do not like when you stand up to them, and when you stand up to them, you let them know that you know who you are, and you know that they are not better than you, because they want you to feel like they're better than you. They want you to feel stupid and dumb, but you stand up to them and you make them know that they are not better than you in any way. You might be quiet, you might be reserved, but that does not mean you're stupid, right? And you have to show that. You have to be assertive when dealing with bullies. The third point, be prepared. So if you have ever had a conversation or had an experience, an encounter with someone that made you feel less of yourself in any way, no matter how little, right? Whether by some jokes that are not funny, right? Insultive or demeaning jokes or comments, whatever way, either physical, emotional, psychological, anything that makes you feel less of yourself in any way. If you've ever had any form of encounter with anyone like that, that's a pointer to bullying. And if it's someone that you cannot stay away from completely, maybe a classmate or a colleague, be prepared, so that next time if something like that happens, you have strategies in place to combat that. So for example, you could prepare for what you would say ahead of time, or your reaction ahead of time, not in a negative way, not by fighting them back, but for example, you could say, only weird people behave like that. So that makes them see that their behavior is not normal. You could also say, healthy people do not talk to others that way. So that makes them see that their actions are unhealthy, because truly bullying is unhealthy. The fourth point, the fourth strategy, talk to someone you trust about it. So you don't feel like you are all alone in this, or you have to deal with it alone, or you have to suffer in silence. No, you don't have to. If you have trusted people in your life, it could be a colleague or maybe a mentor or someone that is older that you can confide in and talk to about this situation that you're experiencing. Talk to someone that you trust about it. And a lot of times, it's especially if you are more on the reserved side, it might be daunting at first to stand up to your bully. So, but if you've prepared ahead of time, and then you sum up the call because you know that you cannot keep quiet about it, that's the first step to overcoming it, right? So the first time you stand up to them, it might be daunting, but if you have someone that you can confide in, and at the end of the day you go back to the person and say, oh, I was able to stand up to this person today, and I was able to talk to them and say, no, don't do that to me, or don't say that to me. That person can be your cheerleader, right? So it's important to have someone that you can talk to so you don't feel like you are all alone in this. The fifth strategy: set healthy and clear boundaries. Very important. Set healthy and clear boundaries, and be firm on your boundaries. If someone is making sarcastic jokes with you, or about your appearance, or about your looks, or about how you speak, or anything at all, if you don't like it, state it clearly and firmly. If someone is overstepping their boundaries, or trying to or interacting with you in a way that you don't feel comfortable with, be firm about it. Once they see that you're firm about it, they respect you better, rather than shying away from it and trying to pretend that it's not happening while it's actually happening. The seventh point, we already mentioned that make it clear that you know who you are and you know your values. So don't let anyone terrorize you or make you feel less than you are, right? And the last point, the last strategy would be to minimize contact with them as much as possible. If it's someone that you can cut off from completely, absolutely, that's the best way, because you don't want such people in your life. Anyone that makes you feel less of yourself, or that makes you have any negative emotion about yourself, is not the type of person you want to have in your life or in your corner. So cut off relationship with them. And if it's maybe even a family member or someone that you cannot avoid completely, just again set clear boundaries and minimize interaction with them as much as possible. So make your interaction with them at the barest minimum. Now we have strategies on how to combat bullying, how to deal with bullies. Now we're going to go on a short break, and in the meantime, grab a cup of coffee, grab a snack, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Vibes Show. During the first segment, we talked about strategies on how to combat bullying. Now we're going to be talking about cyberbullying. They are interrelated, but cyberbullying is specifically about bullying over the internet. So, two major things that we're going to talk about. Cyberbullying is mostly through comments and feedback that people give on your posts or your content on social media. If you notice that anyone gives any rude comment or any negative comment, and it's actually worse, because on social media there is so-called freedom of speech, right? So anybody can just create a social media account and drop any type of comment that they like on people's posts, on people's content, without thinking about the effect on the receiver. Some people actually know the effect on the receiver. So some people are intentional about giving these negative comments, because truly they are sadists. That, bullies are sadists, so they don't feel good about themselves. That's why they are projecting that onto others, and in turn they don't want others to feel good about themselves too. So a lot of times they're intentional about it and they're strategic about it, which is why you also have to be intentional and strategic. So if anyone drops a rude comment on your social media posts, first, sometimes it's genuinely might not be that they intend to be rude. Yeah, because that's another thing. There's a slim line when you're texting, when you're communicating through text, there's a slim line between what someone is trying to communicate and how it's being perceived. So someone might be trying to communicate something and the receiver might perceive it in a different way because of the tone on the text, right? Meanwhile, if the person was to say it verbally directly to the person, it would have been perceived in a different way. So that is there as well. Also, considering the fact that there are people from different walks of life, different cultures, countries, religions, different backgrounds on social media. We all meet on social media. So what is amazing to someone from culture A might be a no-no for someone from culture B. So that is there as well. So something that might come off as rude or disrespectful to A might be the norm for someone from culture B, right? So having that in mind is also important. And very importantly, for those that are outrightly rude and you just know that this doesn't make me feel comfortable as well, that this doesn't make me feel comfortable, the best solution is just block the person. I believe that we have this feature on all social media platforms across Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. You can block people that you do not want to have access to your page or to your content, and they will not be able to have access to your posts going forward or have any form of interaction with you going forward, and vice versa. So if you don't like someone's vibe online, you can just block them and you don't have to bother about it anymore. So in this section, we've had a very interesting topic and we've had an amazing discussion, and I hope that you've been able to learn one or two things on how to be intentional about your relationships, especially with bullies and people that tend to make you feel less of yourself. If there's going to be any major takeaway from this section, it's going to be that you should know your worth, know who you are. No one is going to tell you who you are. It's who you tell yourself that you are that matters. It's what you tell yourself that matters, not what someone else tells you about yourself or not what someone else thinks about you. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and people will always have an opinion, either positive or negative. But what matters is who you say you are and what you tell yourself about yourself. So be very intentional about that, and once you have that foundation and understanding, regardless of who it is, you are able to stand up to them because you do not feel inferior. So stay strong, stay winning, and keep blossoming. Till next time, you can feel free to like this video, share, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
The Vibes with Favour Daramola will continue in the next episode.